The Prifddinas Agility course was released into Oldschool Runescape on Thursday the 25th of July 2019. It is one of the many activities that players can gain access to after completion of the Grandmaster quest Song of the Elves, alongside other such activities like the Gauntlet or Volcano. Like these other activities, it is one of the few ways in which players can accumulate crystal shards, a brand new resource that players can use to construct crystal equipment or create divine potions. To gain access to this agility course, players must have the minimum requirement of at least 75 agility to enter the course and must have completed the Grandmaster quest Song of the Elves. The requirements for completing Song of the Elves can be found on screen. With these skill levels and the completion of these quests, you will be able to start Song of the Elves and then finish it to access the Prifddinas Agility course. Much like graceful tokens from rooftop agility courses, crystal shards are given to the player as a reward for completing laps. Although, unlike graceful tokens, crystal shards will appear in a player's inventory automatically once they are awarded to the player, as opposed to dropping onto the ground for players to pick up, like the Arduino Agility course. For a player to get the chance of receiving crystal shards whilst completing laps on the Prifddinas course, they must use portals. Now, I'll explain what portals are in a bit, but for players to accumulate crystal shards, they have to go through a portal when they appear on their course. It works out that players who run laps with the portals will accumulate roughly 12 crystal shards per hour, with it working out to be 1 crystal shard for every 4 portals that appear on the course. These are the average rates for obtaining crystal shards whilst running laps on the course, though it is possible to get over 12 shards per hour depending on how many portals that you get per hour. Portals are a randomized mechanic on the Prifddinas course and are completely RNG based. However, if you make sure to take a portal when they appear, rather than missing them, which is possible on this course, then more portals will appear on your next laps, and so you will accumulate more agility experience and crystal shards per hour. So it is very important that you take portals when they appear, as it can affect your agility experience and the amount of crystal shards that you will get whilst running laps in Prifddinas. Now, as I mentioned earlier, you need at least 75 agility to access this course. Players who have between 75 to 90 agility can expect to receive 60k experience per hour. But if you have 90 agility, then you can expect to receive 66k agility experience per hour. These rates are based mostly on the amount of portals that you use per hour, so it is very important to use a portal when they appear whilst running on this course, or you will miss out on crystal shards and the optimized rates for agility experience that can be gained here whilst training agility in Prifddinas. The original rates for agility experience on this course were 56k experience per hour at 75 agility and 60k at level 90, but these rates were increased to 60k and 66k respectively on the 1st of August 2019 following a poll. This increase in experience makes the Prifddinas Agility course the 3rd best place in the game to receive optimized agility experience on Oldschool Runescape, with the Werewolf and Brimhaven courses still holding the best rates for agility experience in the game. Now, the starting point to the Prifddinas Agility course can be found in the northwest corner of the city beside the bank. It is marked by an agility icon on the world map. To start the course, players have to climb up a ladder and follow several obstacles to reach the other side. Climbing down the dark hole at the end of the course will bring you down to the west of where the start is, and players have to run west back to the ladder to start the course all over again. The total agility experience that you'll gain by completing each obstacle works out to be 1,285 experience per completed lap, and this rate can go up and over 1,300 depending on whether or not you will get through a portal during your lap. It is optimal to take a portal wherever it appears, even if it is at the start of the course or at the end, so always make sure to take one when they appear on the course. Portals are randomized shortcuts which can appear anywhere on the course except for these 3 obstacles that I am now showing on screen. The only obstacle at the start of the course where a portal can appear is at the first dark hole after you drop down from the roof, as it is being shown on screen. After you climb the ladder up into the tree obstacles, there is a random chance of a portal appearing here. I have prepared some graphics which can show where portals can appear and when they can't. You can find a link in the description box of this video down below for a screen cap of where portals can and can't appear on this course. Although portals are randomized, it is possible to guess where the next one will appear. There isn't a distinct pattern for where portals will appear, as there will be some laps where a portal appears in one, and then when you go to complete another, none will appear at all. Also, the portal that you go through on one lap has a randomized chance of where it will appear in the next one. Despite this, I can tell you where a portal might appear depending on the last one that you used. So at the beginning of the course, it is possible to get a portal. Taking this portal will allow you to skip the tightrope found at the beginning of the course, and you will land beside the chimney obstacle. Now, if this portal appears during your lap, then it is possible for a portal to appear on your next one. This next portal can appear again at the beginning of the course or beside the second or third tree obstacles towards the end of the course. Now, on this course, it is important to note that there are two dark holes. The second and last dark hole can be found at the end of the course, and this is used to exit the course so that you can start your next lap. However, the first dark hole can be found near the start of the course, and a portal can be opened here. If a portal opens at the first dark hole, then it will transport you to the first tree. There are 5 trees on the Prifddinas course, and it is important to know that a portal cannot open at the first tree. However, portals can open at the other trees, and each portal can be used to skip to the next tree. If a portal opens at the first hole, then on your next lap it is possible for a portal to be opened at the beginning of the course, the second tree, or the third tree. It is quite easy to miss a portal at the first hole, particularly if you're playing more than one account whilst running laps, so the best way to guess when a portal will be opened here is by paying attention to what your last portal was, so that you don't miss the portals whilst running laps. Now, as I mentioned earlier, there are 5 trees on the Prifddinas course. Each tree is connected by a tightrope, and if a portal opens beside one, then it will teleport you along to the next tree. If a portal opens on the 5th and final tree, then it will teleport you to the second dark hole, which allows you to exit the course. If a portal opens up beside the second tree, then it is possible for a portal to open on your next lap at the first dark hole, the third tree, or the 5th and last tree. Like I said earlier, paying attention to what portal you use on your last lap will allow you to guess where the next one will open on your next one. Now, the third tree has the most portals linked to it, and I will try to explain what I mean by this. So, if you get a portal beside the third tree, then on your next lap, it is possible for a portal to spawn in 6 different obstacles on the course. For example, if you take a portal by the third tree, then on your next lap, a portal may appear beside the second tree. This is also true for the 4th tree, the first dark hole, the beginning of the course, the third tree itself, so a portal may reappear by the third tree again, or beside the 5th and final tree. So if you get a portal by the third tree, it really is a gamble as to where a portal may appear on your next lap. Unlike the third tree, the 4th has the least amount of portals connected to it. If you get a portal here, then on your next lap a portal could appear at only 2 different locations. These are the first dark hole or the second tree. The final location where portals can appear is at the 5th tree. If a portal appears here, then a portal could appear at the beginning of the course, the third tree, or the first dark hole on your next lap. It will take some practice and some attention, but eventually you will be able to guess where portals will appear using this knowledge. It may seem complicated at first, but it isn't really after you do an hour of the course. So as I explained at the start of the video, portals are RNG based. It is true that if you don't miss portals when they do appear on the course, then it is more likely another will open on your next lap, using the locations and the connections that I just explained. But it is also possible that a portal won't appear on your next lap, neither. So if you go through a portal, finish that lap and begin another one, but don't get a portal on that lap, then that's okay. It just means that you didn't spawn one when running that next lap. So now that we've mastered portals, we can talk about other ways of training whilst running laps here. As most players know, it is possible to train magic and fletching whilst training agility. This can be accomplished by using the High Alchemy spell, which is found on the standard spellbook, or the Magic Imbue spell, which can be found on the Lunar spellbook. You can also train fletching by spam clicking dark tips with feathers as you run, or using arrow shafts with arrow tips as I'm demonstrating on screen. These methods of training magic or fletching whilst training agility have been known to the community for years, but with the Prifddinas course, a brand new form of multi-skilling has been discovered by yours truly as I tested the course upon release. You see, the start of this agility course is found beside a bank, and with that in mind I developed a way of training smithing and magic whilst running laps here. On the standard spellbook we have the superheat item spell. It requires level 45 magic as well as fire and nature runes. To do this method yourself, you should equip your best weight reducing gear as well as a fire staff. I'm using graceful pieces which can be gained from doing rooftop courses outside Prifddinas. For my inventory, I have nature runes in the bottom corner, and I leave one space open so that when I am running laps around Prifddinas, crystal shards will automatically go into my inventory. The rest of my space is left open for gold ore, which will be turned into gold bars with the superheat item spell whilst running laps along the course. Much like how you can cast high alchemy before clicking onto the next obstacle, you can cast superheat item and gold ore before climbing onto the next obstacle as I am showing here. You can repeat this at each intersection on the course before exiting and then starting your next lap. If you maintain a consistent flow and pattern, then you can finish an entire inventory of gold ore inside of 2 laps around Prifddinas before you have to bank and withdraw more gold ore before repeating the method. In your bank, make sure you have the equip item button deactivated, as well as all your nature runes and crystal shards withdrawn into your inventory. You can then fill your remaining bank space with placeholders. You can deactivate the deposit worn items button and fill your bank with placeholders in the bank settings menu, which can be found in the top right corner of your bank interface. If you have followed these instructions, then when you bank for more gold ore, you won't deposit your nature runes or crystal shards when using the deposit inventory button. At the bottom of your bank, you can toggle the all button, which means when you left click in your bank, you'll withdraw a full inventory or whatever it was that you just clicked on. So in this instance, we are banking all the gold bars that we just made with superheat item by using the deposit item button, and then left clicking on the gold ore to withdraw a full inventory of it without banking our nature runes or crystal shards. If you have your F key set up in your player settings, then you can quickly press the escape button on your keyboard, which will allow you to exit your bank and let you click on the course to start your next lap. With practice, you can quickly bank your gold bars, draw more gold ore, and start the course in just a few game ticks. This method isn't viable at other agility courses, but it is with Prifddinas because the start of the course is located near a bank. With this method, I was able to accumulate 57k agility, 35k magic, and 30k smithing experience per hour. This is, of course, well under the 66k agility experience I could be getting as I have 99 agility, but whilst this method means you won't get the optimized rates for agility experience, you do get an extra 65k experience split between magic and the smithing skill. In total, with this method, you will be getting 122k experience on average per hour over the 66k agility experience you can be getting at Prifddinas. This method is no by means a revolutionary one. It isn't going to change the meta game for main accounts looking to get 99 agility or even 200 mil experience in the skill, but if you are an Iron Man account looking to get crystal shards to make crystal armor, tools, or even divine potions, then it might be a method that you might be interested in, particularly if you have an excess amount of nature runes or gold ore just sitting there in your bank. With all that said and done, I hope that by the end of this guide, you will have learned something that you didn't know about the Prifddinas Agility course. With a little practice and some determination, you can definitely learn how to guess where portals may spawn on the course, or even get better experience rates per hour if you're going to use the superheat item method that I discovered whilst testing this course. If you want to see what a full hour looks like whilst using the superheat item spell method, then I uploaded a video about it a few days ago, which you can find a link for at the end of this video. With this guide now done and out of the way, I am looking forward to testing out my crystal armor, which I made for the crystal shards I accumulated on this course. It took me 913 laps or 1.1 mil agility experience in order for me to get 300 crystal shards to make the crystal helmet, body and legs, so I wouldn't suggest using the course itself to make crystal equipment, as the gauntlet or Volcano is a lot better for getting crystal shards. But if you want agility, smithing, fletching or magic experience anyway, then there is a bunch of multi-skilling methods available to get shards, as I showed in this guide. If you did enjoy this guide and want to see more, then hit that subscribe button down below, click the like button, and stay tuned for more old school RuneScape content on this channel. Next week I will be uploading a special video as I test the new crystal armor at various bosses in the game. Perhaps I'll see you in that one. Take it easy guys, and take care. Thank you for watching.